I can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Here we go. It's the Daily Puck Drop. It's Monday, September 8th. It's Overreaction Monday. As we welcome you in the first full kind of slate of the NFL, college football, baseball, all of it. The Daily Puck Drop here on a Monday. Welcome in, kiddos, as we bring you the show from the world-renowned Limback Lumber Studios. Contractors that got free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. They've got the largest stock moldings in the Northwest. Old school service. They've been doing it since 1930. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. You can visit them online at limbacklumber.com. Follow me on the social media platforms on X, Instagram, Blue Sky at Puck Sports. TikTok is Puck_sports. And, of course, you can go to pucksports.com. You can become a Puck's Posse member. You get full access to all the shows. It directly supports Puck Sports, and it's just $5 a month. If that's an issue for you, send me an email, puck@pucksports.com. All right, we'll talk about, obviously, the Seahawks game. It's an interesting thing that has come out of the Seahawks game. I've seen this a lot. The Seahawks blew the game. Has anyone looked at the stats of the game? Just look at the stats, and you tell me if they blew the game. The M's, we'll touch in on the M's. Michael-Shawn Dugar, the Dugar Report, is back for another season. He'll join me at the bottom of the hour. Bill Krueger, Old School Baseball. Hey, what the puck? We'll get you covered here for the next hour or so. And joining us from the Woodshed, no, not the Tacoma Dome. It is his she shed in Bend, Oregon. 3 days a week, ladies and gentlemen. It is the go-to guy, Jim Moore. Brought to you
Puck.
by...
How are you, Puck? You knew I was going to make it, didn't you, Puck?
Brought to you by...
by three sponsors. Thanks to my latest sponsor, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday appearances with Puck, the Angry Beaver in Greenwood. It's been a Seattle favorite for years, now owned by a Coug, Matt Baker. He's turned the Angry Beaver into an official WSU watch party destination. So check it out, the Angry Beaver in Greenwood. The best brisket in town, and the next Kraken game, too. You can catch all the hockey games there at the Angry Beaver. Also want to thank another Coug, Brad Brotherton from Brotherton Cadillac Northwest and Shoreline, and Brotherton Buick GMC, and Brotherton Cadillac in Renton. Whether you're shopping for a Cadillac, Buick, or GMC, Brotherton will make it a simple, comfortable, and fun experience for you. So visit them in Shoreline or Renton, or online at brothertonauto.com. Special thanks to my first sponsor, Brian Turner. You know all about Brian. He runs a Clean Streak, a cleaning business in Oak Harbor. He also has a professional Christmas lighting business, Bright Owl Lighting. Puck can vouch for the terrific job that Bright Owl Lighting did for him when they decorated his house last year. So commercial or residential, Bright Owl Lighting can do the job for you, extending from Island and Skagit counties and as far south as King County, depending on the size of the job. Call 360-675-2034 for a free estimate or visit brightowllighting.com.
What was going on? Why were you not? Because you sent me, which he, just to take people behind the scenes, Jim usually jumps on about a minute before we start. And then
how's the mic? Is the mic okay today? Is it too low, too high? Should I get closer? Should I get farther away?
No, perfect. Okay. So what was the issue today? Because I get a panic text as he checks in 1 minute before saying, okay, I can't get on.
There's that little thing that says, to put you backstage, and it says enter show. There's a blue little link. And so I usually put my index finger on that and I push it. And then I'm backstage like, voila.
Oh,
today, index finger, left index finger, tried it. Right index finger, middle finger. I tried that too. I tried everything. And then it didn't work. And so then I figured out, hey, maybe if I try the cursor and I use a little cursor, and that worked. So here I am. Aren't you happy?
You're like
the listeners and viewers, don't you think they're happy? They're like looking, hey, look at Moore. Moore's there with the Cougs
You're
logo.
like my daughter.
The smoking lock came through with the Cougs this week.
My daughter who thought her radio in her new car was broken, or in her car, not new car, but her first car. Thought it was broken after it was taken in because they were doing some maintenance on it, just to, it hadn't been checked out before by by our mechanic, and I think they screwed up the radio. It doesn't work anymore. Like, did you try like turning it on? You know, usually either you turn the dial on or you press it. Well, I turned the dial. I didn't press it. I said, try pressing it.
Okay.
And then she pressed it.
I don't know about Mari's issues. I don't know about Mari's
issues.
I don't appreciate you comparing my issues to your 16-year-old daughter's, because let me just have a counter to that.
A lot.
I've done this 100 times with my left index finger hitting enter studio. So why on the 101st time with my left index finger would it not work? Why? Why the fuck?
And audience, there it is.
What? No, why? Minutes, why wouldn't it?
6 minutes into the show. Just another, and I quote, "It's not my fault. It was somebody else's fault."
Would you not assume that it would work on the 101st time if you were 100 for 100 on something?
I don't know. Maybe you know, you're probably eating before the show and you got grease all over your fingers. I don't know.
Well, I was freaking out because I've got so much insight today.
I bet you do. I bet you do. What? Hey, quickly before we get into all the Seahawks, Mariners, Cougs, all of it. Where are you at with your rounds of golf? How many rounds have you played so far?
I'm 3 rounds in. Played.
And I said
18,
4. You would be out, right?
Yeah, 18 at Broken Top on Saturday.
Okay.
Yesterday we played Glazed Meadow at Black Butte, and then followed up with the Meadows course there at Sun River.
How's the back holding up?
The back, everything is fine. I'm not injured. I don't feel tired yet. I'm holding up physically okay.
Okay.
But I suck eggs, man. I just absolutely suck. To be honest with you and the listeners, I'm a terrible golfer. I shot 92 on Saturday, 97 at Black Butte. Shit, man, I broke 100 yesterday. I went over 100. I had 102 at the Meadows course. It was a fiasco.
It's golf. It happens. It's the
worst.
Guy
I'm playing with wants to play the blue tees, and I'm 68. And
well, you don't.
I only hit it like 230 when I hit it well.
Yeah, just tell him I'm. You know what? Tee it forward. I like to tee it forward. So if you're playing 36 holes, did you watch the game?
Yeah, I did this morning. God, YouTube TV, it's awesome. It's like the Pac-12 in 60. You can do that with NFL games. I didn't realize that. And you can just go boom, 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 play by play. Just boom, 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 boom.
Well, it was boy, I want preseason. I want the preseason offense back. Can we get the one that looked like the Chiefs and the Raiders? Can that one come back? What happened to the preseason one?
Hey, because can we remind everyone who thought that Clint Kubiak was going to be so great, and he still could be. He could be, but he was fired by Minnesota and New Orleans. So, I mean, you know, it's not like he's the end all be all, the answer to all your problems. Is
Overreaction Monday already starts. Let's fire Clint Kubiak.
No,
Sam Darnold throws for 150 yards. Meanwhile, Geno's cooking in New England.
Yeah. No, what I don't appreciate, and maybe you don't either, is when you're sold something and you expect something to happen and it doesn't happen. It happened with the Cougs, and now it's happening with the Seahawks.
But hold on. Now I think there's a great parallel, and I'm glad you brought it up. I think there's a great parallel to the Cougs and the Seahawks. Changing offensive schemes. How bad did the Cougar offense look in week 1 against Idaho? And then how improved did they look week 2 against San Diego State?
They looked, dramatically improved.
Okay, so
what are you going to just like have the same parallel and go, oh my God, in Pittsburgh, they're going to be gangbusters and Walker's going to run for 150 and 3 touchdowns? I'm
just saying it's possible. It's possible in week 2. They look much better against the new look Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think I would just pump because everyone's going to overreact to Kubiak and all that. I would just say, let's see what it looks like in week 2, week 3. It certainly looked bad yesterday. It was bad. There was nothing positive about
it wasn't
how
Cougars against Idaho bad. I mean, they could have won that game yesterday.
Yeah, but okay. Yes, they could have. They could have. But I really do get a chuckle out of all of these people on social media like, oh, yeah, Seahawks blew that game. They did?
Well, yeah, they kind of did. They had the ball at the 9-yard line.
Okay. San Francisco had 384 total yards. versus 230. San Francisco was 7 of 14 on third down. Seattle was 3 of 10. San Francisco ran 72 plays to 50. Time of possession was 37 minutes and 58 seconds to 22 minutes. San Francisco beat them. They didn't blow the game. Like, that is just the lamest, the absolute lamest thing I hear from fans.
No,
we blew the game.
What you're saying is just as lame.
No,
what
it's
you're saying
not.
is just as lame.
San Francisco was the better. Let me ask you, who was the better team yesterday?
Well, San Francisco was because they won the game.
No. But we've been watching lots of sports. The better team sometimes doesn't win.
Oh,
did the better team win yesterday?
The better team won yesterday.
Okay, then
but I'm not
didn't blow the game.
We're not talking light years better. We're talking slightly better. So and then you can go ahead and point out all. I mean, the stats for losers crowd would say the Seahawks had the ball at the 9-yard line with a minute to go, and they looked like they were in position to win the game.
Jim, the field goal kicker was a disaster for them. Look at what's the score if he's actually better.
I know we can go back and forth like this if you want. It's not like I'm some huge Seahawk, supporter, believer, think they got screwed over or anything like that. I'm just saying that they had the ball at the 9-yard line, and they looked like they were going to go in and win the game, by 3.
So how did they blow it?
By fumbling inside the other team's 10-yard line.
Okay, how did they fumble it?
Sam Darnold fumbled it.
How did he fumble?
He ran into a Coug.
He didn't run into him.
Bosa pushed
one of the best defensive players in the NFL, pushed our right tackle so far back and dominated him into the quarterback where he fumbled. Thus, the better team and the better player made a play when the game was on the line. Blowing the game is you drop a touchdown pass. Blowing the game is if Sam Darnold had dropped back and just lost the ball. Blowing the game is missing a field goal. The better team won because the best player on defense made the play at the right time.
Okay, can you go hypothetical with me for a second?
I sure can.
Okay. What if, and this isn't, you don't have to go far out there to play along with me on this one. What if he'd thrown a touchdown pass to JSN and they won the game by 3? Would the better team have won?
No. San Francisco was the better team yesterday. I mean, I just don't. I honestly, like, you watch.
I know, but you're sounding like San Francisco was a 3-touchdown better team.
No, they were favored, but
by 1.5.
The whole game, they were better than them. I mean, the stats bear it out. Jim, they were dominated.
All right.
In the stat line. Were they not dominated in the stat line?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, what are we arguing then?
Like, well, I don't know.
They were the better.
It's boring the hell out of me, and it's probably boring the hell out of the listeners too. I mean, I don't know what's your point, really?
My point is that this idea coming out of the game that the Seahawks blew it, I just don't agree with. They didn't blow the game. They lost the game because their players made plays. Our players did not make any plays.
Okay, would you agree that this is going to sound crazy, but that's all that comes out of my mouth anyway, usually. But I would say they blew a chance to win the NFC West in the very first game of the season.
Oh, I don't think I'd go that far.
Oh, well, why not? I mean, your better team thing, they won yesterday. You look at San Francisco, so that's like losing 2 games, right? Because now you're behind on the tiebreaker to them. Well, and then San Francisco, their schedule, I looked it up today. This was after I heard this from Hugh, by the way, so it wasn't, original thinking on my part. San Francisco has the easiest strength of schedule in the league because they finished poorly last year with all their injuries, and so they're facing all the crummy teams in the NFC South and the AFC South. And the Seahawks schedule is like 22nd, so it's not, that much harder. But still, you look at the Niners and the position they're in, and you were the only team in the NFC West that lost yesterday. So, yeah, they lost the chance to win the NFC West yesterday. I'm just trying to say something, outrageous,
There's 16 games left in the season. I don't think they've buried themselves.
Would you agree they're 2 games behind?
Well, obviously that they are because they just lost and they they lost to a division opponent, but they've got plenty of time to make up the loss yesterday.
And now you kind of feel after what happened yesterday with Aaron Rodgers being rejuvenated and DK Metcalf and that whole thing going into Pittsburgh, their first home game.
Sure, I don't know. Yeah, they look good.
I mean, they look like they could be very well be 0-2 coming back for that game against the Saints.
Yeah. I thought Riq Woolen had a great game. Boy, he was top notch.
You going to rip on Riq Woolen now?
I preferred when he was Tariq Woolen. Can we go back
was
to
Tariq was he
Woolen?
Better as Tariq?
I felt he was better as Tariq than Riq.
Okay.
Yeah. What was he doing? It's the maddening because he had that great play on Pearsall at the goal line, which is great, but then he gets burned, late in the game by Pearsall. And then obviously the touchdown to the tight end who looked like Dwight Clark yesterday, for God's sakes.
I looked him up because I had no idea who he was or anything about him. An undrafted guy. You know where he played?
Cal.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I watched the game. I didn't play golf yesterday.
I did too, but I was doing that, Evelyn Wood speed watching thing.
Hey, and you won your Milroe bet.
Thank you very much.
Third play into the game. F you, Kubiak.
I felt like a fisherman on the first cast. First cast, I'm reeling in. Pretty big fish I reeled in too, by the way. What are you weighing these days anyway? It was a pretty big fish.
Oh, we're doing fat jokes already. Well, I mean,
well, you were doing cyber jokes with me, like,
I don't send you any money. I don't send you any money, right?
Well, I don't know. I was trying to think of that. Have I paid you anything yet?
No. So
I paid you for the cow.
I
paid you for the 50 cow.
You've been delinquent on your bets to me.
No, I paid you for the 50 home run.
No, because you remember you were waiting for your social security.
Well, I'm going to go back to Venmo and look at my history.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think you've sent me the money yet for Cal.
Yes,
have you? Have you?
I believe I did.
Did you send me $20 for the Raiders bet?
I believe I did that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's one thing I hate about, like, if you owe money, pay the bets off. I don't like that when people just, don't do that. And if I haven't done that, then it's my bad and I will rectify that.
What about the Geno Suarez bet? Are you going to send me that yet or no? You're still going to wait?
No, because he hit 2 homers yesterday. He's closing in on Cal now.
Is he? Where is he at now? How many homers?
He's at 45 and Cal's at what? 54?
53. Yeah. One more. Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
You go ahead. Just go ahead and send it. Just go ahead.
Yeah, we'll see.
Send it my way. Yeah, $20. I mean, the third bleeping play of the game. I see him run out in the field. I'm like, uh-oh.
How much could you have won at DraftKings or somewhere if you'd bet that the Mariners would score more runs yesterday than the Seahawks would score points?
Oh my God. It was just, I'm telling you, it was miserable football to watch that. It was boring. I mean, I like good defense, but there was just a point. Like offensively, you want something, right? Something.
Do you wish you had Geno back after one game?
No, I don't. Although to sit here and watch, to see the highlights, I didn't watch the game, but to sit there and see the highlights of what he was doing in New England, him jumping around and Pete chomping his gum and they're jumping in the arms together. I'm like, son of a bitch.
But Darnold had some good moments.
And they were?
That last drive, that throw that he made to JSN down the left sideline.
Oh, that was a nice one. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
So one pass.
I don't know. I'm trying to focus on some positives here. It's rare for me, but I'm trying to.
So he had one pass.
I mean, but I got a kick out of it. So you get Sam Darnold and all the people like I'm kind of a Sam Darnold doubter because of the last 2 games he had last year, because you feel like that might show up again. And I never want to see that. Gee, I'm seeing ghosts, Sam Darnold from the Jets days. But throwing for 150 yards in an NFL game as a starting quarterback in the NFL, that's generally not seen as being good.
Well, I think you and I have talked about this before. I know I've talked to Rob about this and to Dugar and all of our Seahawks guys. I mean, the position group I have been worried about the most has been the wide receivers, and it's the JSN show, and that's it. And that was on display yesterday. I mean, there's not a lot there, man. There just isn't. And I think that is one thing I think people can overreact to. because that was kind of a feeling in the preseason. It was a feeling for people that evaluated that team that they don't have enough juice in that wide receiver room. And
well, they have possession guys. They don't really have take the top off guys.
No, and that's not JSN. JSN's not that number. And I know someone's going to send us the stats and all that. He's not a number one alpha dog wide receiver. He's just not. That's not what he is.
And his stats would say otherwise.
Correct. But you know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah.
And so,
no, he's more of a guy that's going to be moving the sticks and making some big plays here and there, but not a DK kind of guy.
Let's see. So the Seahawks. All right. So we've covered the Seahawks. The Cougs, you got a Cougs sweatshirt on. We'll have more on the Cougs with the old Crimson this week. But hey, homecoming, they look good.
Hey, what are we doing? Am I going to do it, or are you going to tape it Tuesday night, or not?
We'll figure it out. Oh, that's right, because you can't possibly be here on Wednesday because you have more golf.
Yeah. It's free golf, just like you at Gamble Sands, by the way.
Does Brotherton and Angry Beaver and Clean Streak, they know that you'll be taking Wednesday off?
Well, I think that, no matter who you are, you understand that people sometimes take breaks and take vacation.
Aren't you been on a break for like 2 years?
Yeah, I have been. It's been great. I highly suggest being retired to people who aren't.
But they look great. I mean, they bounced back. The offense looked much better.
I know. Do you feel bad for ripping them last week now?
No,
I kind of do.
I don't.
A little bit.
They looked terrible in week 1.
Yeah, they did.
They just looked. But what did we say at the end of the old Crimson? Let's see what they look like in week 2. That I said I was confident that under this coaching staff, let's see how they bounce back. And they looked terrific. They did. They really. I mean, there was some up and down moments where they looked a little stagnant, but for the most part, against a much better team, defensively they fly around, they make plays, and offensively they ran the ball well. Potter made some nice throws. Homecoming, so it was good. They're 2-0. They're dogs against North Texas, 5.5.
Are we really?
Yeah. You know who's coaching North Texas?
I don't.
Eric Morris. Remember Eric Morris?
He was a Coug coach.
He's the offensive coordinator that came over with Cam Ward. Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word.
Yeah, he's their head coach.
Eric Morris. Remember?
I don't even know what town they're in. What are they, outside of Dallas, or where are they?
Know. Remember him and Dicker got like a pissing match, and then that's when Eric Morris left. Yeah, Eric Morris, head coach, North Texas.
Okay, well, good thing Dickert's in Wake Forest, because Morris might have a bone to pick if he were still here.
Yeah, well, Wake Forest, big win. Whoever they beat, they crushed somebody. It
was really nice seeing that at Martin Stadium. I wasn't there like other alums. How they would have homecoming so early in the season, I've never seen that before. But
I like it. The weather,
yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, that's all
Listen,
right.
attendance is always going to be a problem there. It's just going to be the reality. It's just like everyone's up in arms yesterday about the Seahawks and Niners game and the attendance. Yeah. I don't know. Some people who were in the stand say it wasn't as bad as it appeared to be on TV. On TV, it sounded bad to me.
There was a lot of red.
There was a lot of red. Now, I would just say this. San Francisco always travels like this. Was it more than before? Perhaps. But it's, I don't know if it's a commentary on Seattle. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. I think the price of the tickets are so insane now. And then for fans who are paying for those tickets, they don't want to lose their tickets. So they keep them, but then the way to make up for it is to sell them. I think part of this is a Seahawks problem. I think part of this is an NFL and Seahawks problem, because they have priced out so many people on these tickets. They're so expensive. And then the fact is you don't want to get rid of them, because once you get rid of them, then they're gone, because there's this high demand of a waiting list. And so you sell them to make up for it. So
yeah, well, I don't even know what the price of tickets are anymore. Like, if you have a ticket on the 30-yard line, is it like $250 now or something, or is it more than that?
I'd be guessing, but sure, they're just expensive. Yeah. They're just all of them are expensive. So
no, it's like anything else. I mean, concerts the same way now.
Yeah. So the Mariners come back.
Yeah. I love it when you have nothing. I bring something up. You could have said, yeah, God, concerts are crazy, but you just went, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the concert thing just bores me. I don't know. It's going to touch on the, going to touch in on the Mariners. The Mariners, they come back home. They got St. Louis now to start a homestand. The Sage was out. Do you like the new mustaches on the Mariners?
Sure. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Whatever works.
They look
whatever
like
worked over
corn
the
cobs.
weekend. Let's keep it going.
Yeah,
But you know, the cynical, skeptical Mariner fan right now, which are you and me.
yes.
Would you be surprised if they get shut out tonight?
No, nothing surprises me.
No,
Probably not.
No, going against a middle of the road Cardinals pitcher.
Hey, they're going to take this right down to the wire. You know what's going to happen. They're going to take it right down to Sunday against the Dodgers. Before you go, two quick things. One, remember the Cougar helmet truck that we talked about?
Oh yeah, what'd that go for?
I'm not at liberty. Well, I'll tell you this. What was reported in the paper is not the accurate price. I was told what the accurate price was. What's reported in the paper is less than it actually went for, which I don't know why they didn't.
Okay, what was it reported in the paper?
8,000.
Okay, and that's less than what it went for.
Yes, it's gone for more. You know who bought it?
I do not.
Andy Largent, who is the owner
Flat Stick Pub.
Flat Stick Pub, which is a wonderful, long-time sponsor of Puck Sports. He purchased the truck. I'm coaching the Knights on Saturday. I know it. It doesn't do it. I know. Night football.
Can you give us an Interbay just for old time's sake?
Interbay!
That's better.
And I look down at my phone as the Ballard Knights are taking one on the chin, and Andy says, "Just a picture of the truck." And I'm like, "Did you buy this?" And he did. He bought the truck. And I'm like, "What do you got? What do you got plans for it?" He's like, he's going to make it like a tailgate. He doesn't know what he's going to do with it. But Andy Largent, owner of Flat Stick Pub, bought the Cougar themed helmet truck. Wonderful.
Okay, so you have a really good source who knows how much he paid for it.
I have a pretty good source. I've got a pretty good source. You know,
is he gonna park it outside one of his locations or
I don't know. I think so. I don't know. I don't know if he knows exactly what to do with it yet. I told him it just needs to be a mobile tailgating bar.
At any point in your conversation with Andy Largent, did you say, "Hey man, if you can spend 10 grand on a Cougar truck, could you give me a little more for the sponsorship here at Puck Sports?"
He's spending enough.
Okay.
He's spending.
Well, go Cougs to Andy on that one.
We'll do this on Friday as well, but I just want to bring it up. But we'll when we have Egan on, we'll talk about this as well. I assume you're here on Friday, unless you're playing golf.
My buddy from Austria, he'll be gone by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was so damn good on the King 5 Plus broadcast. I watched by the whole fourth quarter. It was so good. All you got to and you can watch it online, can download it to your TV, the app. He was so funny and so good. And by the time I had picked it up, by midway through the third quarter, then all the fourth quarter, he was doing it by himself. There was no one else there. And he was just seamless, great, wonderful job. The production of it, and people that don't know, King 5 is now doing their big game of the week. They're now broadcasting the big game of the week, streaming it on their King 5 Plus app and then king5.com. And Egan's doing the game. So it's a great job by him and everybody associated with King 5. It was awesome.
Well, Chris is a perfect blend of being a professional and also not taking himself so seriously and having the sense of humor that he is. And when you put them all together, I can see why that came off as well as it did.
It was just so good. We got Michael-Shawn Dugar coming up in a second from The Athletic. He's back with us, the Dugar Report, brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. I'm going to get to him in a minute. You got to remind me to touch base. I know you're not here Wednesday, but Friday. I met after the game. I went and took Rob Staten out to dinner.
Nice.
Yeah, he's in town. I said, "Listen, Rob and I have never met other than just on here, talked on the phone, texting." Dinner from hell.
Really?
Hell. And it's not me, not Rob.
Yeah.
Have you ever
never mind that I've been around for a long time and you've never taken me out to dinner, but go ahead with your story.
Oh, that's not true.
Although you did pay for an anniversary dinner in Ballard one time or something, or you got us a bottle. I forget. Yeah. Then again, I haven't taken you out either, but go ahead.
Have you ever been to a dinner? You sit at a bar, and we were sitting at a bar, and across from us was just the prototypical Seahawks guy.
You really hate those guys.
More than you know. All tatted up. The camo jersey, not the regular jersey, the camo jersey.
So he's got one of those. He's got one of those pickups that you need a ladder to get into, probably.
Because football is like war.
Yeah.
So it's too long of a story, but I want to ask you this, and then our audience. Have you ever been where you're sitting down and then someone you don't know, just a stranger, interjects into your conversation?
We all have.
Okay. And you are trying to do your best to be polite to the person, but at the same time, you are sending every signal, not interested. I'm here trying to talk to this person, trying to catch up. Great that you chimed in. No problem. Perfect. I'm even going to turn. So I'm signaling to you my body language because we're facing each other. Now I'm turning. That is now the universal sign you and I are done talking. But then said person, Seahawks guy doesn't understand that and keeps going. At what point what do you say to get out of it? Jim, it lasted an hour and a half.
No, what?
And Rob and I were just like, there was no way. There was no opening to get out of it.
You couldn't find a different table?
Well, we know because we sat down and our food was coming because it was packed and we're sitting at the bar and I'm like, I was flummoxed. I didn't know what to do.
Did the guy recognize you at all, or it was just
no? Well, that's what I thought initially because he was staring at us right when we sat down. I'm like, oh, he recognizes one or both of us or something. And he just, we were talking about, and Rob was asking me about my family, and I was talking about our kids, and I'm like, I'm coaching, and then he was like, oh, tell me about coaching, and I was just telling him about all the sports I coach, and then I'm like, I think football. What started the whole thing was I said, coaching football to me is the hardest sport to coach versus baseball and basketball, and then that's where the Seahawks guy chimed in. I don't mean to interrupt, and anytime someone says that, you did mean to interrupt because you said, I didn't mean to interrupt. And then goes, I kind of disagree with that.
Well, who was he? Was he just sitting there by himself?
No, with his wife.
Did his wife look upset? Like, honey, what are you doing?
She knew exactly that no one wanted to talk to him. And I just wanted to say to her, can you just tap him? And at what point did she not understand? We're not interested. We need to stop. He kept going.
Usually
what do you do?
The wife will grab you and go, hey,
But what do you do in that situation? So I couldn't come up with anything because there was no opening. And then I'm thinking afterwards, like as I'm like, and he takes a shot at the Cougs, and that fucking boiled my blood. And he's from Spokane, and he's asking me why I would ever be a Cougar fan. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? What do you mean? And he's a Husky fan. I'm like, but you live in Spokane and you're a Husky fan? And then of course I did the passive aggressive. Did you go to school there? No. Funny. And then later in the conversation, turns out that he's also an Oregon fan. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're a Ducks fan and a Husky fan? Okay. But I was thinking that what I should have done is been like, hey, I don't mean to be rude, but I haven't seen my friend in 10 years. We just need to catch up and talk some business and catch up. Do you mind if we sit at a different table? What would you have done there?
No, I think that's fair.
What do you do?
Yeah, and you shouldn't feel bad about doing that. And that's not. He's being ruder than you. Thinking that you might be rude by saying that. To him.
Yeah, it kept me up at night. It was so bad.
No, in hindsight, you probably should have done that, Puck. And
I know,
and not worry about what that guy would have thought because you're
right.
more interested in what Rob has to say.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, we will have fun playing golf. Good luck. Try 5 more rounds.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3. No, we've got 6 more.
6 more rounds.
Yeah,
Good luck.
one today at Brasada, 2 at Pronghorn
Oof.
tomorrow. Then I
Oof.
forget where the next 3 are after that.
I believe in you. I believe in
Okay.
you. All right. We'll see you on Friday. Go Cougs.
Okay. Go Cougs. Fuck. Thanks, bud.
All right, there he is. The one and only Jim Moore. Go to. What do you do in a situation like that? Oh, God, it was bad. Just so bad. So awful. All right. Coming up, we got the Dugar Report. Michael-Shawn Dugar, the Athletic. He's going to join us every Monday to talk Seahawks football. All brought to you by the world-renowned Georgetown Brewery.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer. Your new, locally brewed, domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
And we talk more Seahawks football. We get back to the Seahawks, and he's got the Cougar beanie on. Michael-Shawn Dugar from The Athletic, the Dugar Report. Of course, covers the Seahawks for The Athletic. You can follow him on social media at Mike Dugar. Also, co-host with our guy, Chris Kidd, Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast. You can find that on all your favorite podcast platforms. And the author of The Franchise, Your Seattle Seahawks, Michael-Shawn Dugar. Mike, well, that was offensively offensive.
Yeah, unfortunately, predictably so as well. You know, I know some fans probably don't want to hear that, but anybody who watched training camp as often as I did, and anyone who went to Green Bay, which I sadly did, we saw a very similar offense. We saw an offense that has one guy that you can really trust to get open. I don't think Kupp's going to always have 2 catches for 15 yards all year, right? He's going to probably he might have a 100-yard game this year, at least one, you know. But on the whole, what happened when I looked at the box score, particularly with the receiving, I was like, oh yeah, this tracks. This tracks. That's what camp looked like. Now you may say, well, Mike, how come I saw all these like Elijah Arroyo highlights or Torrey Horton highlights, you know, throughout camp? It's a fair question. You got to remember the volume of passes that a quarterback throws in camp. You know, like what did Darnold throw yesterday? Like 20 times, something like that, 23. Well, in camp, he may throw 23 times in one period, right? So there's there's a higher chance of like, okay, one of those is a toe tapping catch by Elijah. But if you just say, all right, you get 23 in a real game, that's it. How many of those are going to go to your tight ends? How many of those are to Kupp? How many to Torrey Horton? You know, that distribution was expected. You know, you looked at some of their try to run to the perimeter stuff. A lot of it did not work. That's what camp looked like. And that's a credit, I think, though, in camp to like DeMarcus Lawrence and Boye, who were really good yesterday as well. So you see why it's hard to run on them on the edges. But yeah, it was very predictable kind of output yesterday from that offense.
Because it's interesting because, you know, most fans don't get to go to training camp. Didn't get to see what that was like. Not like you guys get to. Not at Green Bay. And I think they look back, and I put myself in that category as well, Mike. Really what I've seen is Kansas City and the Raiders game. And I go, man, there's a lot to like of those 2 preseason games, especially how they ran the ball, how the offense looked, while at the same time acknowledging, I understand it's preseason. I didn't think that they would run the ball like they did in those games, but, you know, 84 yards on 26 carries. And I think you and I so that was disappointing. They just never really established the running game. And, you know, the quarterback just wasn't productive, and there just wasn't a lot there. And then to me, and I know you and I have discussed this before, the thing that has worried me the most about this offense is that wide receiver core. I don't see a lot after JSN. And again, it was just one game, but you know, for him to have 13 of the 22 targets, I think you touched on it. He can't be the only one they rely on in the passing game.
Yeah, I thought they would run it better. I should say that was one of the surprising parts. Though at the same time, I think I put it this way: I thought they would have more success, but it still doesn't totally surprise me they didn't because of who they were playing. They tried to run the Shanahan offense on Shanahan. You know, there's just some level of preparedness that comes with Kyle being like, oh, I can get a feel for this. And they're working for Clint used to work for Kyle, right? So it's like when Pete would lose like a Gus Bradley or a DQ or Ken Norton, right? And they play the Seahawks and they're running cover 3. You know, Pete can help the OC figure this out. Like, here's how we can stop whatever Gus Bradley's going to run, whatever Dan Quinn's going to run, because that's our scheme. It may be different players. You may tweak it a little bit, but that's our scheme, so we can be prepared for that. And it looked like it, particularly as they try to run their bread and butter stuff. There was no stuff that hit off the toss plays, off the perimeter stuff. It just didn't work, you know. And that I feel like could be an outlier. If you're a Seahawks fan looking for a silver lining, I do think that's the ineptitude there might be an outlier, because you're not going to play Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan, who I consider like a top 3 OC DC pairing there, maybe behind only Minnesota and Kansas City. So that was a tough game, specifically for what they were trying to run, who they were trying to run it against.
You are always good with this in terms of looking at the statistics and, you know, the analytics of the sport. Do you know how much, to me, just watching it, seemed like they were in shotgun an awful lot? Do you know what the breakdown of that was?
I do, actually. Someone asked this for our pod last night, so I looked it up. First and second down, which is, I think, what is more indicative of the play caller's tendencies, because third down gets skewed with 2-minute drives and just end of game situation. Yeah, which 3rd and 7, right? You're always going to be in shotgun, you know. Yeah. So, and Seattle had 2-minute drives yesterday, which will heavily skew the numbers, right? So on first and second down yesterday, they were 50% shotgun, 50% under center. So dead even split. I forget how many plays that was total, but it was a dead even split, which also is about what I expected, because you still have to have the threat of a dynamic passing game, and your passing menu of plays is more limited when you're under center. You know, you saw that too. San Francisco was pretty much ready for all of their under center throws, whether it was play action, whether it was traditional 1980s 7-step drop and throw stuff. They were ready for all of it. So it was pretty even, but that also, I would say, reflects training camp and preseason. You know, this offense is going to have shotgun, just like the Niners running the same offense right out of it as well. It's just how well you can block it up and how dynamic your pass catchers are when it's time to throw.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot more. I guess I would say this, more than I expected.
Yeah, I could see that. Because this is kind of billed as a under center, use a fullback, you know, like smash mouth thing. But you can't totally live in that world, because I think there's a lot of reasons. But to keep it simple, I do think it's the passing menu. Like, how much stuff can we really run with 2 running backs on the field, only 2 receivers, 1 tight end from under center? Like, can we be explosive in that world? The answer is yes, because Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan pull it off. But it's very difficult unless your fullback is a very good pass route runner, and unless your running back is a very dynamic receiver as well, which the Niners have. What did McCaffrey get yesterday? 10 targets? Like, you know, there you go. That's how you pull that off. Otherwise, you're going to have to run it a lot.
It was very, I guess, Sam Darnold. He was 16 of 23 for $150. You would ask me how did he look? I'd say, meh. You know, it wasn't all his fault, nor was it dynamic. He did have a nice throw there, you know, on that final drive that ended up, you know, hitting JSN down the sideline. So I don't even know how to take a step back and look at his performance. I'm not sure if it was him or the play calling or the offensive line or just really the wide receivers. Were they getting open? But looking back at the game, what do you think of Darnold's Week 1 performance?
I watched the game in full, the condensed broadcast copy. It's about 37 minutes. I watched that last night. I'm about halfway through the actual film of the offense. But in general, I think yesterday was emblematic of what they want to be, but it also exposed the flaw in that. They don't want Darnold to have to be their best player on offense. Right? That's understandable, because to ask that of him is how everyone gets fired eventually, right? Like that, we know how that story goes. Their whole thing is, we don't need Darnold to be Superman. We just need him to play point guard, get the ball to such and such and such and such, you know, manage the game. And when it's go time, make a couple big time throws just in case we're down or we need to run a 2-minute situation. And he largely did that. The problem is, and this is where the exposure comes in and why people like me and others outside Seattle weren't too high on the Seahawks, is to make that work against good teams, you need a lot of good players around Sam Darnold at every position. Like, to be a point guard, they're basically asking him to be like a point guard on an NBA Finals team. Well, he needs to be passing it to like some all-stars. You know, like passing it to some all NBA players. He can't just be passing it to Joe Schmo in the corner for 3 every time, right? And that's kind of what how their offensive talent is set up. Because you look at, like, Sam, for example, said Purdy's kind of who taught him, like, hey, just a point guard, get the ball to your guys and let them cook. That sounds great coming from Brock when his players are Ayuk, in shape Debo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. Then it's like, well, yeah, just get the ball to your guys and let them eat. That's a lot different when get the ball to Jackson, AJ Barner, who I like, actually, rookie Elijah Arroyo, 33-year-old Cup or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It's not the same thing. So I think that's where the flaw in their plan can come into play.
3 plays in, I lost a $20 bet to the degenerate gambler by the name of Jim Moore. You know him as the go-to guy, because I said that foolishly, Jalen Milroe's not going to come in. They'll use him in the red zone between, he'll never come in between the 30s. 3 plays in, they bring him in. They used him early, but that kind of was it. And I think back to the 4th and 1 play, why use him so early in the game? Why not then, when you decide to kick the field goal late, why not just use him there?
Yeah, I thought first off, I think the whole Jalen Milroe being Black Taysom Hill usage is just a terrible idea in general, which is basically what they're doing. There's no chance the Niners thought he was going to throw the ball on that snap. There's no chance, right? Because that's how they're using him. Even though on draft night they were asked specifically, like, "Hey, is this basically your Taysom Hill?" And they were like, "Nah, he's a quarterback." It's like, okay, buddy.
And then that's how they exactly used him.
Exactly how you use him. A tush push in the preseason, and then come in and just run QB power randomly on the. Come on, man! Don't lie to us. Don't insult our intelligence. And then you run an AJ Barner tush push, I believe, on the 2nd drive of the game, or the 3rd drive, and then you go to neither one of those things on 4th and 1. So I just think that's where they're overthinking this. They're overthinking this. I actually see the logic behind kicking the field goal on 4th and 1. I do, just generally as an idea, even though I'm a never kick guy. But I'm against it when you have Jalen Milroe and you've been repping that stuff, and we've already used the AJ Barner tush push with great success. It's like, why are we going away from those things? We're supposed to be this physical smash mouth football team.
Couldn't agree more, and on all fronts, because I'm not one of those guys when they lined up for the field goal saying that's the worst decision ever. Their field goal kicker's a mess. Defense has played okay. It's played good. You're thinking, all right, we get a stop, win the game 13-10, and everyone goes home happy. But yeah, to your point, if you're gonna do it there, then do it. What's the point of activating him? That's what I'd like to know. What's the point of activating him if in a situation like that, if you can still keep hope alive for a touchdown, use him there rather than the 3rd play of the game, and it would have saved me money too.
Yes, that's the all important thing there. Yeah, I've just never been on board with the Jalen Milroe pick, because I think it's a square peg round hole situation for the scheme itself. I just don't think he's a fit. Like, you can see it. You can see they have to run totally different stuff.
You don't even like it long term.
No, not with Kubiak, not with this scheme. I just think square peg round hole. I just don't think that works. I think if you got to have like a Greg Roman type of guy who was Lamar's OC, the first MVP. He was Kaepernick's OC in San Fran, like a quarterback run game expert. He was even Tyrod Taylor's OC in Buffalo the year they won 10 games, I believe. So like the mobile quarterback, get him involved type of guy, not the West Coast timing, throw the dig route. So that's not Jalen. It's not. So, and I think they're seeing that. We're like, well, how do we use this guy? How do we make what he quote unquote does well come alive? Well, just don't right now. Possess the ball. You know what it comes down to, Puck? When I say never kick on Twitter, which I do a lot, it's hyperbole half the time, but the other half is genuinely because I'm of the belief having the ball is just more valuable than not having it.
Sure.
Like you can plug whatever you want to in your model. You can spout whatever coach speak you want. Yep. That will always be true. Possessing the ball is more valuable than not. Yep. So if I was going through the math, I'm a head coach. Like, how valuable right now is having the ball versus whatever they'll do when we don't have it. Mm-hmm. Simple. We have the ball. We have a higher chance of winning the game. Boom.
Riq Woolen. I mean, should we go back to Tariq? I mean, do we want Tariq or do we want Riq Woolen? But he's very polarizing in this town, and probably polarizing for for these coaches in this front office, because there are times when you get wowed by his athleticism and his play. He made a terrific play on Ricky Pearsall at the goal line that only maybe he can make, just getting his fingertips on that ball. But that later, the miscommunication or not sticking with Pearsall on the long pass play, the touchdown to the tight end who just kind of came out of nowhere after Kittle went down. This is probably why, at least from their perspective, why they have not yet pulled the trigger on doing anything with a contract situation.
Yeah, I know that their holdup with Riq is not holdup is strong, but their criticism, I guess, of Riq is that he's just not always focused and locked in on a snap to snap basis. And Riq knows that. He admitted that. He's talked about it openly with me, with other people. And that's just a hard thing for that to be the critique. I would much rather it be like, yeah, he doesn't have great hands, like sometimes he's not grasping the technique, or he's not that fast, like maybe he doesn't like to tackle, like those things. I would rather, if I had to just choose, every corner is not perfect. If I had to choose what the holdup is, whether you're focused on any given snap, that's like probably the worst version of it, like the worst thing to have the critique be. And it sucks too, because when he is focused, he's your best cover corner, better than Spoon, better than Joe. Like when he's really focused, like there's a world where on that deep ball, he goes up and picks it. I've seen him do it a bunch of times. I saw him do it to Kyler Murray his rookie year. Like he goes up and gets that ball 9 times out of 10 because he's a former receiver. Then the time he doesn't, though, you end up losing the game. I don't even know what I would do as a coach, because when he's he's as good as anybody. When he's off, you might lose the game.
And I wonder, though, if that can improve. I don't know. I don't know if someone can get better at that. I don't know if that is where you do more film study, or is that something you practice on? One part of me just says, Mike, that's just kind of an inherent thing you have. That's kind of like work ethic. That's kind of like an attitude and an effort thing. And I don't know. Maybe you can improve that, or maybe this is just who he is.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably that. Mike McDonald probably can't even answer that. It really probably is just only Riq knows whether that's going to be a thing. I forget who I stole this from, but they were saying that focus should be treated as a resource, like a finite resource. When it comes to athletes, like focus is not an unlimited thing. That's why you see some guys in the clutch in particular mess up, whether that's quarterbacks, pitchers, whoever. It's just hard to always be focused in, like to be a closer in baseball. I'm sure every pitch, your nerves are probably on 1,000, right? So if you treat it like that, say, we wonder, do guys have it? I will say this though. One of the things that got Josh Jobe called up and into the starting lineup was his work ethic and the fact that they view him as a guy who he treats every snap the same. Treats every snap like the ball is coming, whether it's in a walkthrough, practice, or in a game. And I do think that if you're Mike McDonald and you're wondering, okay, what is our alternative if we want to not rely on Riq as much, which I don't think they're considering. But if they do, you might feel good about the fact that, like, even though Josh is not as good a player, the thing that we love about him is the thing that the other guy lacks. Like, it's the exact thing that we need, is just play to play, locked in focus.
And that's hard. I coach at the youth level in a bunch of different sports. And I think you can see the kids that always bring that attitude and effort versus the kids that don't. And I just don't know if that's something you can coach. I think sometimes kids and players, they just have that. They have the running to drills and doing what's told. And that's a tough one. But he had obviously a rough game. What's the worry, if any? I mean, there's got to be some, whether it's short-term or long-term, with the injury to Eamon Warren.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal, because the reason they traded up for him, and the reason that players like him and Kyle Hamilton's and Brian Branches in Detroit, although the body type's not the same there, but the point is the same. There's a reason that's becoming an attractive position, that kind of big nickel / third safety. It matters because the body type is unique. It's not even as much as a skill set thing. It's like you just got to be built a certain way. Like Spoon can play nickel, but he's still like 185 pounds, right? Like the football doesn't have weight classes, so to speak, but it does, like boxing at the same time, right? So when you lose Nick, it's like, okay, it's just because Nick's super talented that this sucks. It's like we legitimately just don't have anyone who can play that, which is why we traded up for him in the second round. So I do think that's going to take quite a bit of tweaking. It's going to basically require, hey, Spoon, can you just play like you're 220 pounds? And now if there is anyone on the team equipped to do that, it probably is Spoon. But you wonder if you're still getting the best out of Spoon because he's still a really good outside corner. That means relying on Riq and Josh a little bit more. There's just ripples as we saw last night. It meant playing Ty Okada, who gave up a touchdown. There are a lot of ripples because of the uniqueness of Nicky Mawari. It's very similar to those Seahawks teams when they lost Cam Chancellor. It wasn't like Cam was this all-world talent all the time. It was just he's 6'3", 230. We just don't have that. We don't have that in a Deion Bailey or a Deshaun Shedd or whoever the hell else they're putting out there. And that's a similar problem to what they have now, even though Nick's not, he might be their 5th best DB.
If you would have told, like, if I was showing a game to someone who had never seen the Seahawks play before, and we sat down and watched it, my guess is that person who had never seen the Seahawks play before, didn't know anything about the Seahawks, I think that person would say, well, it's clear to me that Zach Charbonnet is the starting running back versus Ken Walker. What did you make of the Charbonnet versus Walker comp yesterday?
Yeah, I thought that, well, this is what's a poor setup for Ken and fantasy owners of Ken Walker like myself, is that
the important stuff.
Yeah, well, Ken's he's not the third down guy. And in either scenario, whether you're passing it or you're short yardage, so that's a problem. Then he's got to be the early down guy. And then the early down blocking's got to be there, which it wasn't. So it's just a lot easier to phase that guy out because then Zach can also do the early down stuff. I had people texting me yesterday. It's like, hey, Mike, is Zach RB1? My editor hit me on Slack during the game. He was like, is Ken hurt? Like I can see you're correct. If you just kind of are paying attention from afar, you're just like, oh, they just phased Ken out. I don't think that's the case. I think that when it's rolling, they'll both get a lot of touches. Because yesterday, I think one of Zach's runs was really like a swing pass. It just went backwards. So it got counted as a run. So if we take that out of the sample, you have 11 carries for Zach, 10 for Ken. That's not this huge disparity.
But early on, it was skewed. Hey, there's a thumbs up on the video. At one point, it was like 7-2. Like on that scoring drive, that was like all Charbonnet.
Yeah, it was. It balanced out. But that's why they play a full game, right? I think it will balance out. Sometimes Ken will be heavy, and then Zach will maybe close it out. I do think what stood out yesterday for both running backs. I haven't fully finished charting it. Like I said, I'm only halfway through. I don't think either one of them did a good job breaking tackles yesterday. Mm-hmm. I thought the Niners tackled, to their credit, really well. Like Ken had a swing pass in the flat. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a big play. And 53 just dropped him. Like just clean dropped him, It was like second down. I think that's what really stood out, because if their scheme works well, you get Zach and Ken matched up against nickels and safeties. And those nickels and safeties tackled really well yesterday. And I thought that was their running backs coach KP is probably on them today. Like, hey man, like these guys did their job on some of these plays. Now we got to deliver. We can't let guys with single digit jersey numbers or numbers in the 20s and 30s bring us down in space, which is what happened yesterday.
I think, and I wrote in my notes to open up with this because I wanted to open up this conversation with what you wrote at The Athletic, because I think you nailed it of why San Francisco was the better team yesterday and why they ended up winning the game. And now I'll close with it. But Mike writes, and if you don't have an Athletic subscription, go get it now, athletic.com. If you love, Mike does a great job of covering this football team, and there's so much great content at The Athletic. Your money well spent. He wrote the Seahawks opening loss to the 49ers on Sunday afternoon was a perfect example of how simple the game of football can be. I love that because, God, do we overcomplicate sports, and especially this one. Schemes are important, sure. Pre-snap reads and post-snap adjustments can prove critical in crunch time. Talent and toughness are generally prerequisites for success. But when the game is on the line, as was the case in the Final Frame Sunday, the difference between winning and losing is often determined by players being prepared for the magnitude of the moment. The guys who are equipped to execute to win their one-on-one matchups are the ones who earn the right to celebrate. The 49ers were well-equipped in the waning moments. The Seahawks were not. Exactly. It's better players for San Francisco made the plays to win the game, and the Seahawks players did not.
Yeah, and I would extend. I quote Ernest Jones in there. He said he tried to help Riq out a little bit and say it shouldn't have come down to those one or two plays. And the coaches and players always say that, but I disagree.
Yeah.
I think that when you're set up the way the Seahawks are, where you're probably not going to just overwhelm the opponent with talent, most of the time that's just not going to be the case. The way the roster is set up, it comes down to a player or two. Think about not you, just in general. Think of you Seahawks fans. Think of your favorite player in Seahawks history, and the plays you love from them the most. Outside of probably Marshawn's Beastquake, it's probably a crunch time play. It's probably a catch, a tackle, a turnover in a big moment. That's what makes great players the great players. By and large, it's usually something like that. It's Cam Chancellor blocking the field goal or pick six and Cam Newton in the playoffs. It's these big moments. Sherm's tip. Jermaine's catches, that's what separates. And I do think that's why that stood out to me. It's like, that's how they're going to have to win these games. I don't think they're going to blow a lot of teams out, especially with the style of play. It's a very ugly, smash mouth, ground and pound style. That means you're going to have to win on third downs. You're going to have to get those PBUs on 3rd and 7s or whatever. You're going to have to execute in the red zone. You have to block the other team's best edge rusher consistently. Like, that's how these games are going to be won and lost. And they chose that and with the way they set their roster up. But also, I would say, even if your roster is loaded, I finished watching the Ravens game last night. That roster is loaded. You know how they lost? Came down to a few plays. Came down to losing one-on-ones, Jair Alexander. It came down to, 2-point conversions, things like that. So, yeah, it's going to come down to one or two plays. Coaches love to say, we should have secured it earlier. That's not how it works. That's why Pete's speech was so powerful. Can you win the game in the fourth quarter? Hell yeah. And that's how you win the game. And the Niners did that. And they had their best players showed up. Brock showed up. Pearsall is one of their best players now, whether Seahawks fans know that or not. Bosa showed up. Their guys showed up, and the Seahawks' best guys didn't. Puck on that last play. Bosa went through the Seahawks' 2 highest paid offensive players.
Yep.
One snap. Darnold and Abe. Right there. One play. Boom. That's the difference. Their best versus your best, or at least highest paid. And they lost.
Yep. The Dugar Report. Michael-Shawn Dugar from The Athletic joins us, me every Monday. Follow him on social media at Mike Dugar. Seahawks Man to Man podcast up on YouTube and also all podcast platforms. Go watch and listen to it. Also, get the book, The Franchise, Seattle Seahawks. Where can they get the book, Mike?
You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Barnes & Noble. Wherever books are sold. The Kindle edition should be available. I made sure that the e-readers can get that. Also, if you're at a game, home or a road, just hit me up. We can we'll figure it out on the road, but at home, meet me at the Tunnel Club right outside that door. I'll come sign. I signed like 4 books yesterday, so just shoot me a DM. My DMs are open on Instagram, on Twitter as well. Shoot me a message. I always got my Sharpie. I always have books in my backpack or my trunk of my car. I will come. You can buy a book straight from me at every Seahawks game this year. I promise.
Good stuff, Mike. And again, his weekly appearance. Big thanks to Georgetown Brewery, makers of Manny's Pale Ale, Bodie Zaffa IPA, Rogers Pilsner, and Georgetown's new tavern beer. Tasting room and beer garden open daily, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Visit georgetownbeer.com. Cougs 2-0, by the way. North Texas coming up this weekend.
I didn't even know that till you said that. The North Texas. I knew we were 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0, baby. All right.
Yeah,
Go Cougs.
You play to win the game, baby. Shout out to Herm Edwards. All right. See you, Puck. Go Cougs.
All right. Yeah, there he is, Michael-Shawn Dugar. In case you missed any of the Michael-Shawn Dugar podcast there, it will be available later up on YouTube. Also on all your favorite podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, does not matter. A part of the Daily Puck Drop. Glad to have Mike on for another year talking Seahawks football. September's crazy because you got football and baseball, and a Monday staple throughout the baseball season, of course, is our visit with Bill Krueger, host of the Old School Baseball podcast, which you can find on all your favorite podcast platforms. And you can follow Bill on Twitter, old_school_MLB. 13 years in professional baseball. Bill joins me every single Monday. It was a 3-6 road trip, but at least they ended with 2 big wins and their bats exploded, and they find themselves now with 19 games remaining in the season, just 2.5 games back of the Houston Astros. In dining, visit John Howie's Steak, an experienced premier Northwest dining. Prime custom aged steaks, award-winning wine, unmatched level of service. You won't be disappointed. Make your next reservation today at johnhowiesteak.com. You're doing great, and you're back with us.
Yes.
Talking baseball on a Monday.
Yes.
We're talking Mariners. We're talking road trip from hell that looked better at the end. And yet they're still in a position to win the division. It's a Monday. I know there's a lot of football. We've talked a lot of football. We'll continue. We always talk football, but we still have a baseball season to get you caught up on. And every Monday, Bill Krueger, our friend, one of the best,
Right.
old school baseball podcast host. Yes, he's in that realm now. You can listen to his podcast on all podcast platforms. Just search Old School Baseball. Follow him on social media, old_MLB, where he likes to comment pretty much every day on the sport he loves, baseball.
Yes.
Bill 3-6 on the road trip, but they win the last 2. And then against Atlanta, and they explode for 28 runs. So it makes it look much better how they finish as they come back home to start a 7-game homestand.
Yes, they really kind of had their backs against the wall. I mean, even if they hadn't won that series, I still think they'd be okay. I just don't think the teams that are chasing them have enough steam to take them. But, you got to start winning to start believing that you can win, because, sports are funny. You start losing, and then it doesn't feel like you can ever win, right? And yet this team has been a winning club. They've been a winning club. So they stuck it to the Braves. I'm not going to diminish that, but that was once Waldrop left the game, basically the competition was over, because the bullpen act after that and then the pitching in the final day were less than standard. Now you can see why. You look at the Braves, and they've had some injuries in the rotation, and they have a lineup sprinkled with stars. Acuna looks lost, but now you know why. Now you know why they're bad. They got no act once they get past like a couple of starters. They got nothing.
Yeah.
And the Mariners piled it on. Hey, that's when they look great. They took care of substandard pitchers, and everybody took their slice at it, and they piled some runs up. And hopefully that can carry forward. I don't think it's like there's some inside discussion. Ooh, this is what we found from all these different guys. They all found it the last 2 days. They didn't find anything. They took advantage of some bad pitching. But sometimes you just do it, and it plants a different vision in your head when you're playing.
It just gives them a boost of confidence.
I don't want to take that. You hear where I'm coming from. It's not like it's like Eureka. We're a different club now. Now we're a bashing club. Now we're going to average 10 runs a game. I don't think so. I think we're still the team that wins close games. It doesn't score big, but they slug to win. The whole key, getting some walks, right? Get some guys on base. A little ham and egg doesn't hurt. And they did a little bit of that the last series. So I see this as all in a positive vein. They probably could have won one more in Cleveland. Tampa looked like the better club when they played them in Tampa. They looked good, and they took it to the Mariners in every way. Then they took care of business with Atlanta once they got past the fire-breathing Greg and Chris Sale.
But I think it gives them confidence as they return home.
Yeah.
And I agree. Everything that you said, I totally agree that, listen, I don't think there was anything in the last 2 games that they found something now that is going to help them for the rest of the season. But what it does do is you score 28 runs. Your offense is struggling. The whole overall team has been struggling. It makes the road trip look a little bit better.
Oh, yeah.
Then you look up at the standings and you go, all right, we did not play well on that road trip. But now as we look and think, what do we have? 19 games left. We are still we're 2.5 games back of Houston. We still have a lead in the wild card there on Texas by a game and a half, and then 2 up there on the Royals. So as bad as we played, we didn't lose anything. In fact, we made up a half a game, I think, on Houston. So, okay, not all is lost, and we'll see. Now we got to push to the end here in the 19 games remaining in the season. So I guess it gives them some added confidence, and you know how much that can carry over.
Yeah, it's big. Confidence it rules sports. And for the best of the best to the guy that's the 27th player on the roster, or whatever the number is today in the roster scheme, when we've expanded rosters, I can't keep track. It's 28?
28.
Thank you. See, well, I was right. I guessed, and I was right. I think the Michael Jordan's down to like I said, the 28th player. Confidence matters. So if they gain confidence the last two games, bully. This is a team where you look at those first 6 guys, and there's a little bit of all or nothing in all of them. But there's 6 of them, right? So if Raleigh flags, maybe somebody else hits. If Naylor flags, somebody else hits. And what happened on this road trip? Rodriguez and Polanco went off. They don't need all 6 to hit. They just need a walk or a cheap hit in there when one of these guys comes up and slugs. That's their game. That is how they're going to get it done. They need a little more discretion. The other team knows they're facing a gauntlet of hitters. They all have to have a game plan for each one of these guys. It's not just, pitch him away and he hits a fly ball to right. He's just not going to hit. He's not going to slug. This whole lineup, you got to, if you don't pitch a Rosarina in and up, he's going to get you. He likes the first pitch. Rodriguez, we saw what he did. He was a terror on the trip. I don't have the numbers dead in my head, but he hit like 330 with like 5 or 6 homers.
Oh, I got him for you, sir.
Okay.
I'm going to give him to you right now. He was 313. He slugged 634.
Yeah.
His OPS was 982. Now this is on that. Hold on. This is back up. I did not do this on the road trip. This is since August 1st. I'll give you the road trip numbers, but he's been on a tear. Yeah. And then obviously even on a more of a heater on that road trip. He's been great.
Yeah, and Polanco has raked and hit the ball out of the ballpark and drove some runs in, hit for a high average. So there's 6 of them, and they're all going to have their moments. And of course, it was great to see Suarez hit a couple of home runs the last day, and he's a bona fide home run hitter, and he's going to get him in streaks. I can't say that like I said.
No more playing first base. But no more playing first base.
No, that was not good. I mean, he's an excellent defender, but I think it's hard to go and wander over to the other side of the field. The perspective is all different, and they try to play a little mix and match with the lineup, and it kind of it stung them.
Yeah. Rodriguez on the road trip. I promised you I'd find him for you.
Yeah.
324. His on base was 342, 784 slugging, and then over 1,000 OPS, 5 home runs, and 16 RBIs. And the Mariners PR staff had this, and it's just there's a lot of debate with him. We've talked about him a lot, and the expectations of Julio, and are they fair or unfair? But you start to look and realize some of the company that he's keeping now early in his career. And they put this stat out there after his latest home run. He's the 7th center fielder with multiple 30-plus home run seasons at the age of 24 or younger. I mean, I know the game has changed, and there's going to be some factors in this, but you can't argue the company he's keeping here.
Yeah.
It's him, DiMaggio, Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Griffey, Andrew Jones, and Mike Trout.
Yeah, if you're that burst on the scene really young and physically ready to play the game and don't get held up in the minor leagues and just come on like he did, getting that young of a start into the big leagues, he's got a long runway to put up some big numbers for sure. And he's done it. He is a unique combination of power and speed that we've talked about it. We talked about it when he blasted onto the scene. And then we've seen some of the growing up that he's gone through with the extra expectations that are built into a contract that maybe he wasn't quite ready to earn. But in the long game, he probably will be I hate to use the word bargain, but you look at the numbers.
It will be a bargain.
If he stays healthy and just keeps doing what he's doing, even if he doesn't like go to the next level, if so to speak, he's still going to be a good deal for the Mariners for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, look, you know how I feel about the stolen bases. The stolen bases it's just like candy. They're free candy. It's like they put the Halloween basket out in front of the door. You don't even have to ring the bell. You don't have to say trick or treat. You don't have to wear a disguise or a costume. You just go and grab the money, grab the candy and go. That's what it is. Everybody can score. Jason, you could go and steal a base.
Stop it.
Everybody can steal. Me
Stop it.
with my aged, decrepit body could steal a base.
Couldn't do it.
Everybody can steal a base. It's
Now,
just there for the taking.
If you did put a basket of Reese's peanut butter cups on second base, perhaps I could do it. And let's be honest, and I want you to raise your hand. Don't lie to the audience. Don't lie.
Okay.
Don't lie. When you went to the house with the basket out there and it says take one, did a young Bill Krueger only take one?
You know, I grew up in an era where everybody manned the house. There was no giving the candy away. There was no basket out in front.
Okay.
Sorry. I wish I could say that I can recall
All right.
that, but I cannot.
You sound like you grew up just an idyllic time.
I was pretty Boy Scoutish. I kind of didn't go doubling back on the best houses or anything like that. Now, the fact that that's even in my brain makes you have to wonder.
Okay.
But there was a scheme. We were out to make a big killing. I had a big bag of candy when I got home.
Sure did.
Of course, we never, ever got to the bottom of it.
Oh.
You know, it was a couple of days. Then Mom came in and took it out of our bedroom, and it was over.
Sir, enough is enough.
Yes.
Hey, they come back after that road trip. Brian Wu will start the first game against the Cardinals. You tell me. I want you to go in depth here into the weeds. What have you seen the last two starts? He hasn't gone deep. Hasn't been the normal Brian Wu in the last two.
Well, his last turn, he gave up a couple runs early, and then again the sixth inning homer got him. So he gives up 3. I think we're nitpicking a little bit. I think he's pitched fine. I mean, I think we talked about the things that I think he could do to help himself a little bit as his pitch count goes up. That I think he's a little tone deaf to like. We've talked about it. Where does the fastball have to be when it's not chasing a swing and miss? Where does it have to be? Where is the weakness in the hitter that allows me to get in a position where I can get the defense to help me a little bit? You're not just throwing it in there and like let him hit it. That's not what we're talking about. And he shouldn't change his style. The high fastball count that he uses, where he can run the ball in and run the ball up, and that's his power and his deceptive release point. That's his power. And he doesn't walk people. Now he's had a few more walks, but his walk rate is so incredibly good. Look at that record that he ran down with Cy Young and the number of 6 inning performances with less than 2 walks. I mean, it's unbelievable. And he is earning it. He can really spot the baseball, but he's got to improve on his changeup. He's got to improve on his slider. They have moments, but what really stings him is just sometimes you can't just blow them away. Sometimes you have to hit a spot down and away. Okay. And, you know, you let the defense make a play for you. And that's something that I think he'll learn over time, because if you want to carry the game further, you have to be able to do that in the middle of the game. You get to 80, 90 pitches. You have to be able to do that, because you cannot. And then when you go after the top line, you have a little bit less. You make a fuzzy mistake, and then the ball's out of the ballpark. Our whole staff is a little vulnerable to the home run. And particularly as you get into the game, every one of them is. They're a little vulnerable to the home run. And a lot of that has to do with chasing the top line and not understanding where you need to be as the game wears on. So that doesn't mean they're not a good staff. That doesn't mean they can't dominate. But these are things that need some paying attention to.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Tampa series, back to Wednesday, George Kirby. He just gets obliterated in that start. Okay. 7 earned runs in 2 innings. Clearly he and the team feel Tampa Bay has something on him. He reacts because he's frustrated by throwing and hitting a player.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Josh Lowe? Was that who it was?
Yeah.
And he hits him.
Yep.
You tell me. I have my thoughts on this one. I want to hear from you. Is that the way you should react?
No, that's not how you play the game. You can make him move his feet, but you can't take aim at him. I don't think that's the answer. To take out your frustrations and drill somebody. I think there's a place to push a guy back. You want to try to push him back. You don't want to necessarily just drill him because they're beating you up. That doesn't seem like the right approach, and the right to have a mature approach to what's going on. You're going to get hit, and a lot of our younger pitchers, they've never had to go through and pitch through a a game where they've had to give up some runs. You know, they get taken out of games in the minor leagues. The pitch count. What I'm getting at, I want to make sure I get this correct. They don't know how to pitch where they're in later in the game where their pitch count goes up, and it isn't always about stuff. So in that particular instance, Tampa was just staying inside the baseball on him, and he was up in the strike zone. He was in the middle of the plate. He wasn't getting the ball down, and they kind of nickeled and dimed him. And then when they had to, they hit some balls pretty hard. That's going to happen in baseball. You're going to get hit, but you have to figure out how to put the brakes on. How do you put the brakes on the game? Mm-hmm. Well, that's those 8 guys that are standing out there. They can help you put the brakes on the game. If you can understand, it's not so you can't just, again, I go back to this. It isn't just like, well, let's see now. My best pitch for whiff is my slider. So I'll just throw sliders, or I'll throw the fastball at the top line. That's where I know I get a lot of whiff. Sometimes, like I said, it's a located fastball. That's what you have to do. And he needs to be able to slow him down. His breaking stuff is in the mid-80s. His fastball's in the mid-90s. He doesn't have anything that slows him down. He doesn't have a pitch that's really dramatically hard to hit. Like he doesn't have – his breaking stuff is good, but it's not – he doesn't have anything that's a wipeout pitch. Okay. So what he needs is a change-up, and he needs to throw it more. He needs to go out in the outfield and throw the circle change, catch, and get 2-1 and 1-0 and throw that thing. Throw that thing to those left-handers. Get it in the game. Get in the game early and have it be in the 80 to 82 mile an hour range, something slower that makes his fastball bigger.
It seems like something that's been a common theme this year. And it's weird because of, with the pitch comm, you don't think this would be an issue anymore. So it's not that they're stealing the signs of the catcher.
Right.
But why are teams picking up on them? Because it seems it's been a problem with all of them. Highlighted really with Kirby and then Andres Munoz. What are they doing with their glove placement, their hand placement, that the teams seem to be picking up on what they're throwing? Because he even talked before the game, after the game, about how he met a few days earlier about changing his setup and everything so teams couldn't see what he was throwing.
Well, I know he presets the split and he doesn't throw it anymore. So why are we messing with the split?
Why does he do that every time?
He's not throwing it.
I know, but why does he? But it's his first. He does. If people don't notice this, he puts for everyone to see, like he's going to throw a split, and then he puts his pitching hand back in his glove. Is that just like a pre-pitch routine for him? Why?
Yeah, I think it has gotten to be a habit, and maybe he feels like that deceives the hitter, that he keeps putting split in their head, right? So maybe there's something to be said between his set. You're being scrutinized. They're watching. Hand placement. If they can see your wrist outside the glove, if your hand's a little bit turned, they know it's a breaking ball. If your hands don't go up as high when you make your turn, they may pick up on that. Hands go up a little higher, it's a breaking ball. They don't go up as high, it's a fastball. Those kinds of things. Those are the things they're picking at you. I don't think once you get into delivery, it's kind of hard for the hitter because the hitter has to start zoning in on the baseball. So it has to be in a really early part of his delivery. It has to be where's the hand position, and where's the glove position? Like you said, glove flare is another thing. That's why guys preset the split, because of the glove flare. They don't want to go in and dig for the split, and then they widen their glove. That's why you see pitchers presetting the split in the glove so they don't have to go in and dig for it. And then when they dig for it, the glove flares. So glove flare is another thing. Hand position outside the mitt where they're looking at your hand, how high your hands go, and the glove flare. Those are the 3 things. I mean, I was on a Tiger club that they had 2 or 3 guys on the bench that just could really read guys. And we were just this dangerous team of Fryman and Whitaker and Trammell and Gibson and all these guys that could hit homers. And we'd sneak up and all of a sudden we'd put a 6 on somebody, Tettleton, in like the middle of the game. And a lot of it had to do with we had a group of cagey guys that could pick up on occasion something that tipped the pitch, right?
Okay. Well, let's see if it's been a reoccurring theme all season long for these pitchers. All right, last thing for you.
Yeah.
19 games left, and it's probably more of a fair question to ask after the season. Dan Wilson, as a manager, it's come under heat a lot from fans recently. How do you think this first full season so far has how he is managed through this year?
I think he's done a great job. This team presented itself as a much more, I mean, there's been ebb and flow, but offensively, since he took over, this team had a different approach. They didn't strike out nearly as much once he took the team over. There was a little bit more of a conscious effort to put the ball in play. Now that has waned a little bit during the season, during stretches. I think he's kept an even keel as far as the way he emotionally presents himself as the leader of the team, to how he protects his players, to I think, like I said, you want to be steady. That's important. And you want to communicate. And I think you just don't see a disgruntled team, because I think they know that their manager has their back. Okay. Now, making pitching decisions is always going to be where the money is made by the manager. And I think what's challenging is this club, their best pitching is their starting pitching, even though it's been a little erratic this year because of injury. That's where he gets trapped, because sometimes, and unfortunately, he can't let the starting pitcher ride. I mean, Gilbert should have rode in game one of the game against Sale. He should have pitched more, I think. So should have Sale. That should have been a 1-0 game, because both pitchers were dominating and nobody had a chance, and they both come out. They both come out because they're gonna break. They're going to fall apart. They're going to get
Gilbert
hurt.
was
they're
at 8.
They're going to get a Tommy John. They're going to get a rotator cuff. Come on, give me a break. Stop.
Gilbert was at 86 when he came.
Yeah,
out.
I mean, they just got to pitch a little bit more. You're trying to win. This is the time where you push them a little bit. We're not talking about 125. Okay, so I think he gets trapped in there. He doesn't have a real deep bullpen. So. And then, you if you stretch the bullpen enough, even though you've got a couple guys you really like, you'll end up finding the dog. The dog will get you. It'll be that day you find the dog. You put enough guys in the game and you'll find the dog. That's why I always say if a starter's pitching good, don't be afraid to watch the game and say, hey, he's doing pretty well. Hey, maybe he should keep pitching. Yeah, good decision. Or even a reliever. But that's his pocket. Oh, I love that one. It's his pocket. Pocket. What if he comes in and strikes out the side? I run him back out there the next inning. Pocket. Stop it. So those things help the manager make easier decisions, but unfortunately, we have to have the cast of thousands, because that's the way the people upstairs see the game. They want it to be matchup.
How do you think it in? Because what really drew the ire from a lot of fans, and I don't think this is solely just a Dan Wilson decision, is how they handled Harry Ford on this trip. And that if you called him up, at what point were you going to get him into the game? There was other opportunities, especially in the Tampa series, where they could have given him an AB. They could have used him in some situation. Now they wait to use him in Atlanta. Now he's from Georgia, so all right, it makes sense. You want to see his family see him in his hometown. But the decision to use him when they did use him, it was a curious one in that first game, in which it was a great game we mentioned before, Sale and Gilbert, in the 7th inning. And they used him to go hit for Luke Raley in a high-pressured situation that you're handing him the bat for the very first time since he's been called up in a 1-1 game. Was that the right time to use Harry Ford?
It would have been nice for him to get in at bat in the wipeout game in Tampa. He should have came in, maybe caught a couple innings. I can see that. They don't have a big plan for him. He's not a part of why this team is going to succeed in the playoff run. He's not. Why is he here? Because he gives them options, and that's the option of the switch out on the catcher position, so they don't have to give up the DH. That's why he's there. It hasn't popped up yet. He came in because basically it's utilitarian. You look down the bench, you don't want Reddy against the left-handed pitcher, so you go, Harry Ford, he's our right-hand hitter, so Harry's in the game. No matter whether it's his initial at-bat in his most unopportune time, he went up there and said, looking fastball, and never got one.
No,
they twisted him every time, and he was out.
Yeah.
Which I get. You're right. But it's not about Harry Ford. As much as you like the fact that he's a top prospect, and we're supposed to be coveting him, and we're supposed to put him in this perfect position, and we're supposed to like. It's not. This is not about Harry Ford. He's here, but it's not about him. Now, if he was in Atlanta, he'd be playing because Atlanta's already flown the white flag, and they're going to play their young guys, right? That's not the situation here. So I don't really. That doesn't get me upset. It's unfortunate that he got his at bat the way he got it.
Yeah,
it would have been nice to get one earlier for sure. In the
blowout
game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just think if
I'm
you
with
want
you on
to
that.
get him in there, you got to get not in that situation. That was you put him. I think you put the team in a real tough spot to have him make his debut there.
I'm with you on that one.
A week from today, when we meet, we're probably, I would assume, we're going to be talking about Cal Raleigh tying Mickey Mantle or surpassing Mickey Mantle for the most home runs as a switch hitter. So we can table that, which is just going to be an incredible accomplishment.
It is. It's going to happen. This guy's got too much. He just has too much juice, man. He's going to get 55.
And it's the power of the mustache. They are going. They're going straight 70s cop porn mustache. The look for your Seattle Mariners. Bill Krueger, did you ever sport a mustache?
I did in college. Coming out of it was like a protest mustache. I think I just decided I'd have one going to school, and that's about as best I can do. I can't grow a beard, and so there is actually a photo that my daughter's uncovered that she rubs in my face because I really look like somebody that's out dealing drugs. I've got like a black leather jacket with the big lapel on the shirt, shiny shirt with a big lapel. We got to realize it's the 70s. Okay?
Damn right.
She's like, who is that? Who is that guy? And she just rubs it in my face.
I need that picture. All right. Bill Krueger, Old School Baseball podcast. Find it wherever you find your podcasts, on all podcast platforms. Follow him on social media, oldschool_MLB. All right, Bill, enjoy the week. We'll see if they can they recover here on the homestand, make up some ground on Houston. And by next week, hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed, we're talking about a first-place Mariners team.
That'd be great. I think they can do it.
We'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
Bill Krueger with us, Old School Baseball. And again, you can find that entire podcast up on YouTube, a part of the Daily Puck Drop. Also on your favorite podcast platforms. Does not matter where they are at or which ones they are. Bill will join us throughout the baseball season. Hopefully the Mariners will get in the playoffs. Our baseball coverage will run all the way through September, all the way through the season, and hopefully beyond. They start a 7-game homestand on Monday. First up, the St. Louis Cardinals. So, again, Bill with us every single Monday. Big thanks to him. Also, Michael-Shawn Dugar from The Athletic. And again, his podcast is up on all the platforms as well. And, of course, the go-to guy, Jimmy Moore. Go back in. If you missed that, go back and watch and listen to that. He, son of a gun, got me on the Jalen Milroe bet. Also, I took an error before we get to Hey, What the Puck, an error on Puck Survivor. I had mistakenly said that the window for Puck Survivor was open through Monday. That is my fault. The window closed right before the games kick off, 10 a.m. on Sunday. So that is my fault. So if anyone didn't get their picks in, maybe, I have until Monday to do it. My apologies. You can send me an email, puck@pucksports.com, and we'll talk to the boys over there at Sandman Sports, see what we can do. But, again, moving forward for Puck Survivor, good luck to those who are still around. I hung on. I took the Broncos against Cam Ward of the Titans. Puck Survivor, you move on to week number 2. Reminder, all picks got to be in 10 a.m. Sunday. So before the games kick off there on Sunday. First place, $500. Second place, you get a $100 gift card to John Howie Steak. Third place, $50 to Georgetown Brewery. Fourth place, $50 there to Flat Stick Pub. Let's wrap up Monday's edition of the Daily Puck Drop with Hey, What the Puck? Our final word here of the day, and it's brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle, your restoration company that is going to let you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services, locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, North Seattle franchise. I am going to take my advice that I would have. like to give myself before or after the week 1 Cougars loss. Don't overreact. But I did because the Cougs, that's my team. Like, that's my favorite team. So it's just like, I'm going to overreact to that as much as possible. But I also was like, all right, let's see what they can do in week 2. And they were great. They were great in week 2 against San Diego State. And they turned their attention to North Texas. So I'm going to take my advice that I wish I would have given myself after the Idaho game with the Seahawks. Don't overreact, even though we like to call this Overreaction Monday because that's just kind of fun. But don't overreact to week 1. Offense did not look good. Darnold didn't look good. The backs didn't look, just everything didn't look good. They lost the game, and people are going to say, well, they should have won that game. Again, I think the overall stats paint a very much a different picture of who really should have won that game. They had opportunities to win for sure. There's no, as much as they were outplayed, Jim is right and others right. They had an opportunity going down to win the game. In fact, would have stolen the game, I think, from San Francisco. Regardless of it, it's another home loss in front of a crowd that was pretty even, at least it looked like, appeared on TV with a lot of San Francisco fans there. Not going to overreact to it yet. But what we saw in the preseason, that glimpses of this new rushing attack, did not come to fruition Sunday against San Francisco. And that was certainly a red flag. We can get more concerned about if it continues against Pittsburgh and beyond. But just try to temper a little bit over the overreaction post week 1. There was a lot to like defensively, minus Woolen at times. Defensively, they were fast flying around the football, making plays, creating turnovers. And so that was a huge, listen, they had that one drive, they open up the game. You were certainly were kind of scratching your head out like, God, really? You just get off the field 95 yards? But don't overreact. Fight the urge, at least for one more week, not to overreact. And then week 2, then we can overreact. All right, that's Hey What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. It is your restoration company. It's going to help you avoid that stress, and there's a lot of stress that's going on, especially if you have damage to your home or your business. Take the stress off your shoulders. Give it to professionals like Restoration One, locally owned and operated. They're going to take care of all of it for you. 206-817-8917. Visit them at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. All right, there it is, Monday's edition of the Daily Puck Drop in the books. Thank you for everyone, all of you, for watching and listening to today's podcast. Thank you to all our sponsors, Limbeck Lumber, Clean Street, Brotherton Cadillac, Angry Beaver, Georgetown Brewery, and Restoration One. Today's Daily Puck Drop, find it up on YouTube. We're there. Search Puck Sports. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel. Also find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms and at pucksports.com, where you can sign up to become a member of the Pucks Posse. $5 a month. You support all the free content we give you daily, plus bonus shows like our baseball coverage with Ryan Divish. Also coming out monthly, the Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer, Matt Stretch Johnson, KJ Arntz with Mitch Levy every Thursday. And we now produce the Graz with Gas Take 5 podcast, which you can find Mondays on all channels and up at pucksports.com. All right, happy Monday to all. Coming up on tomorrow's show, we've got Jim Duquette talking Major League Baseball, John Canzano stopping by to talk week 2 of college football, Danny Kelly from The Ringer as we discuss the Seahawks opener and other NFL storylines and fantasy football with the great Danny Kelly. We'll talk to you at 10. Until then, as always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!